Welcome to Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, today we're, of course, talking about something that makes me very, very happy, and it is the Silmarillion. I've been seeing you all in the chat. You are marvelous. I apologize for the late start. Things happened, but I'm glad you all stuck in there. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you, and it's also so good to have my guest, Princess Rennie.
Hey, Teresa. Always great to be here. Glad to be able to contribute and participate. Very excited about the next two chapters, especially the second one. So can't wait to chat about that.
Oh, yay. Yeah, Baron and Luthien. Everyone loves Baron and Luthien. Well, I love my chat too. I love my animals especially. Hello, Snortopupus Cuber. Hello, humans and other critters. Yes, hello, hello, Jacob Ironsign. Great to see you. Zeke Rot 315. Thank you so much. Jacob Ironside saying hello to everyone. See, did I catch everybody? Oh, Boosh McCradden, hello, everybody. Thank you for being here during our discussion of the Silmarillion. So it is a girls' day or a girls' morning right now, as we're getting ready to go through, and maybe it's a good thing that it's some ladies, because the romance is coming.
Oh my gosh, yes. Flower power? No, just kidding.
Baron and Luthien, yeah. Well, you know, guys can like romance too. But yeah. So the unfortunate part about Stieg not being with us is we're not sure if we have a future. It's always nice to have that guarantee. So any of you across the pond, if you know the future, and hopefully it still exists, let us know. Give us a give us something from the future. We need it. Rennie, before we get started, I wanted to just maybe if you could give some thoughts about these two chapters, and I think I know one of them that you might want to.
Yeah, Ruin of Beleriand is a pretty good chapter about like basically the I don't know, the evolution of stuff with the elves. So I like that. But of course, I'm very, very partial to Beren and Luthien, and I cry every time I read this chapter. It's an amazing love story, and you know what people sacrifice and give up to be with the person they love is just amazing. So I love it. So I'm a little partial.
Yay! And well, the chapter we're going to start with of the fall of the ruin of Beleriand and the fall of Fingolfin. Part of me is like, spoilers, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Did you have to put it in the title? I thought the same thing. I'm like, I don't remember these many spoilers in titles before, but okay.
That's okay. You know what? It's his book. If he wants to spoil it, he can.
Absolutely.
Right. So let me see. Let me see if anyone else is coming in before we get going. Rennie, another Rennie. Rennie Flowers? Wait. Oh, Rennie Flowers, I guess. Maybe
okay.
that's referring to you. I thought we had a new...
because I said flower power, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, got you. Rennie Flowers. And then you got me the rose. Okay. Thank you, Bush, for stopping by. I appreciate that. Hello, Rennie. Oh my gosh, Stieg is off rating Lindisfarne.
Oh no.
Wait, is that the place where all the polar bears are? I hope not.
Maybe.
Yeah, the one way up north. I'd have to look that up, and I probably completely butchered the pronunciation, of course, because
I'll be no better, Teresa. So no worries.
All right. Well, you know, why not? I mean, if you got to raid somewhere, why not do that kind of a raid? Yeah, but I know that there's like an island, like one of the most northernmost parts of Norway, where it's pretty wild that you can't go out without a shotgun because, well, of the
that's right.
Bears.
He was saying something about that.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, and they do a lot of research up there. It's pretty cool about like herbs, and like they have the whole thing where they have all the plants of the entire planet, something like that. So that's I like that story. If I'm correct, if I'm wrong, he's somewhere else. Help me out. Lindisfarne says. No, Snortopupus Gruber says, Tolkien's favorite story within his legendarium. Everyone should look at photos of the gravestone. J.R.R. Tolkien and Edith Tolkien. Yes, she was his Luthien, and he kind of based some of it on her because...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the dancing his wife once danced before him like that. I think it was right after they were married or when they were dating. Very romantic. What a guy. Potato Ribbon. Hello, ladies. Spoiler. J.R. Tolkien was at the Battle of the Five Armies, and Miss Martin were writing it down, and they both shared sandwiches. Oh, well,
Okay.
that's true. I know you are from the future, so give us a report because we don't have our report from Norway, but Ireland's close enough. Okay, Snorted Poopus says, "Oh, Lindisfarne was first known Viking raid on England. Oh my gosh, it's not even. Oh, I'm just throwing away my history degree in 793. Okay, are you
Oh,
sure?
good one.
I thought it was another island that it happened at, but that's okay. There is like this island of the monastery, but yeah, monasteries, they were like targets. It was like being in a trailer during a tornado,
Oh,
hanging out in a
yikes.
monastery. Well, yeah, because that's where all they figured out really quickly that, hey, that's where a lot of gold you can get and all that, and so yeah,
And people
that's how
gather there, so there's that.
exactly, because it was also centers of learning, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, let's go into the fall of the gosh, this is a long title.
Beleriand?
Of the ruin of Beleriand and the fall of Fingolfin from the synopsis. After the tribes of Dane, I hope I say it right, had entered Beleriand and strengthened the forces of the Noldor, Fingolfin began trying to rally the Noldor and Edain together for an attack against the fortress of Morgoth. He was met with resistance, however, for the Noldor had grown complacent, loving their new realms and power. They were also fearful of the wrath of Morgoth, knowing that even a victory would come at a heavy cost. At last, during winter, Morgoth attacked the Noldor. Great fires erupted out of the Iron Mountain and burned the great plains of Ardgallen, forever scarring them into a vast desert. Many Noldor were killed in the blaze, which reached as far as Dorthonion before stopping. Great armies poured forth from Angband as well, led by the great dragon, Glamourung. The combined strength of these armies was enough to break the power of the elves, ending the siege of Angband forever. So we're talking about some seriously bad war stuff going on. Yes, as Snorted Poopa says, sigh, such wreckage and gloom and doom, epic. Yeah. And like I said, if this were made into a show, if it was ever done properly, which we know will never happen, that would be very epic to see on the screen.
Oh, absolutely. And they had a dragon along, so yeah.
Hell yes, yeah. A dragon not being ridden by a psycho lady. So,
yeah, who was perfectly sane like a couple minutes ago. Yeah.
who just a few ringing of the bells made her go psycho. Oh boy. Okay, let's see. Well, meanwhile, many of the Sindar fled to the realms of Doriath or Osoriand. Others took refuge in the realm of Nargothrond. The king, Finrod, went. I'm just going to say his first name. Went north to aid his brothers Angod and Agnor, but he was too late, as they were both killed. And he himself soon came into peril, being saved only by the timely intervention of the man Barahir of the house of Beor, who intervened at the Fen of Serach to stop the orcs. Finrod gave Barahir his emerald eye ring in gratitude and swore to aid the house of Barahir should they need it.
That's so awesome. I love that Finrod was so welcoming to men.
Mm-hmm.
He was such a good, like, I'm trying to think of a good way to put this other than to say olive branch, but a lot of elves are like, oh, we don't want them hanging out in our lands and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, I'm going to be friends with them. And, it just really spoke a lot to his character, especially being kin to Feanor. So I really, really like that dynamic. And I, especially his his friendship with Barahir. So.
Yay. Yeah, good points. Yeah, what a guy. What a guy. Oh, hello, Soul Assassin. Hello, thank you for being here. Welcome to Miss Smart Muses. Always great to see you. Yeah, what she said. So meanwhile, this is a bit of a chapter. In the northwest, Hithilum was hard pressed by the orcs as well. Hador Goldenhead was slain, leaving his house to his son Galdor. Due to their strength and the strength of the elves, Hithlum remained in the face of Morgoth's attack, but they were cut off from the rest of the elves by legions of orcs. Yeah, because it sucks to be them.
Man.
Oh, Snorta Poopus Cooper says, and that's the ring Aragorn was wearing in Third Age almost 4,000 years later.
Yes, they describe it in Beren and Luthien's chapter, and I'm like, that's Aragorn's ring. So yes, I believe so.
Yeah, because the name of the ring, and they made all sorts of replicas of those rings, and you could buy them also. So there.
I almost bought a Sting, but I just didn't like the quality of it, like a Sting replica.
Mm-hmm.
But I just didn't like the quality of it. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not as cute up close as it is in the pictures.
Yeah. I ended up getting a Sting letter opener, and
nice.
And the rest of them, like I got some rings and things. I didn't get the real fancy ones. I got the plastic ones, but they look just as pretty. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah. So everyone's saying hello to each other. Yes, thank you. Okay, let's continue with some more doom and gloom. The sons of Feanor suffered a catastrophic defeat as well. Celagorm and Currafin were driven to seek refuge in Nargothrond. Maedhros led a defense and stopped the orcs for a small time, but soon Glaimrung attacked and opened Maglor's Gap, forcing the Feanorian elves south. Caranthir, Amrod, and Amrost were all driven south and joined with the green elves of Ossirand. Maedhros and Maglor eventually joined on the hill of Himlung and defended against the onslaught as best they could. Jacob Ironstein says Glamdrum was a nasty worm. Yeah, well, one hell of a one. And of course, if I and of course, if I am mispronouncing things, all I can say is my sincere apologies to the professor and anyone's ears. And if you all can correct me, and you know me, I'm not sensitive. Go ahead and tell me what I'm doing wrong. Oh, Snortapoopa says the only thing I bought was a miniature Anduril. Makes a nice boot knife.
Ooh. Flame of the West.
Oh, yes.
Very nice. I can't criticize pronunciations. I just basically go by what the audiobook says. So I'm like, okay, but then when you listen to the audiobook as you read, because I like to do both because it helps me to retain. But when you listen to it, it's like, wait, he just said it this way, and now he's saying it this way. And so I just go with whatever, sounds the best out of the two, sometimes. So I'm not going to fault you on that, because even the audiobook reader couldn't figure it out. So
and couldn't keep it straight.
Exactly.
All right. Well, there you go. So I have cover. And now we get to Fingolfin. Meanwhile, a lot of meanwhiles here. Yeah, meanwhile, previously on the Silmarillion, word would reach Fingolfin of all these catastrophes, causing him to perceive the complete devastation of the Noldor. In madness and grief, he mounted his horse and rode out from Hithlum across Dora. I can't pronounce it. His rage was so great that he was mistaken for Orome, the huntsman of the Valar. What an image, Remy! What an image!
That's pretty awesome, because Orome is very beautiful but terrifying according to his description. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. The only image I can think of is like he was like an avenging angel. Like it just totally,
It's just like, out of the way. I don't want any of this.
And everyone's like, okay. This dude's on a mission.
Exactly.
Okay, Fingolfin rode up to the very gates of Angband, challenging Morgoth to single combat. Ooh, what a boss! What a boss!
Its own.
Yeah. Fingolfin openly insulted Morgoth, calling him a coward and a tyrant. Morgoth had no choice but to answer Fingolfin's challenge, lest his own captain think him unfit to lead. Taking the great hammer of the underworld called Grond, Morgoth emerged from the black depths of Angband and attacked Fingolfin. So we're basically dealing with essentially a Valar, this dude. So it's not like an elf versus that. And let me see.
Yeah, it's basically elf versus like what, demigod or god, right? So to speak.
Yes. I mean, it's mighty to behold and probably terrible and terrifying. Let me see something here. I'm just looking at the way that Tolkien says it. He says, "Therefore, Morgoth came climbing slowly from his subterranean throne, and the rumor of his feet was like thunder underground. And he issued forth, laid in black armor, and he stood before the king like a tower, iron crowned, and his vast shield, sable unblazoned, cast a shadow over him like a storm cloud. But Fingolfin gleamed beneath it as a star, for his mail was overlaid with silver, and his blue shield was set with crystals, and he drew his sword Ringil that glittered like ice." Woohoo! Yes.
This sounds so majestic and so, I don't know, just so powerful, even though, like you were saying, he's pretty much overpowered because Morgoth is a fallen Valar. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, like I said, Tolkien's words are always better than the summary. I just use the summary for reasons because it would take us 200 years. And then it goes here. Then Morgoth, this is Tolkien's words. This is not a summary. Then Morgoth hurled aloft Grond, the hammer of the underworld, and swung it down like a bolt of thunder. But Fingolfin sprang aside, and Grond writ a mighty pit in the earth, whence smoke and fire darted. Many times Morgoth essayed to smite him, and each time Fingolfin leapt away as a lightning shoots from under a dark cloud. And he wounded Morgoth with 7 wounds, and 7 times Morgoth gave a cry of anguish, whereof the host of Angbod fell upon their faces in dismay, and the cries echoed in the Northlands.
What?
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So, I mean, can you imagine this unbelievable? I just can't keep saying it. It's like a battle of the gods going on.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what I was thinking as well. It's kind of one of those, I mean, definitely not the same exact thing, but kind of like a shot heard round the world kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just like, oh, dang, or a Clash of the Titans kind of epic battle. And I really like that. A couple of things that kind of rung to my mind is, do you remember what Grond is in Lord of the Rings? It's 2 different things, and I thought it was really cool because I forgot that Morgoth had it first. So Grond is Sauron's mace or his warhammer, and it's also what they called the battering ram that wound up smashing the doors of Minas Tirith for the orcs. But so that was really cool. It's like, oh my gosh, he had it first. I didn't remember that. So that was really cool. But to see Fingolfin just stand up and be just so mighty and majestic, and keeping in mind that no matter how badly Feanor treated him, he still had Feanor's back. He still loved his brother, whether he was his half brother or not. And he partially did this to fulfill his oath, but I feel like he also did it because he loved his brother and he wanted to do right by him. And so I felt it was very touching because Finarfin didn't really care about Feanor, but Fingolfin loved him. And no matter what he did to him, he even released him from, or didn't quote unquote press charges when the Valar asked him to, and released him from, or asked him to be released from their captivity or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's real love. And I just, that's why I kind of like this chapter, is I'm just like, oh, he still loves his brother, and it's, he's fighting partially for that reason, and this is what's giving him strength and power to fight a fallen Valar. And I think it's very touching. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that was beautiful. Well, and also not to discount that, but the destruction that he saw, that was also a part of it as well.
Absolutely. Sorry, I just read Beren and Luthien, so like love is like all up in my heart right now. So.
Love is everything. Love is everything. Snorta Poopa says that shows how much power Morgoth siphoned off into his various creatures and the world itself in order to corrupt. He was considerably weaker and more vulnerable than he would have been otherwise. Good point.
Yeah, because what was it? The chapter with Ungoliant, where basically, as he fed her more of his power, he got weaker, and that power didn't come back to him. It weakened him to strengthen her. So that's a good point.
Yeah, that's what the bad guys do. They ruin everything.
Yeah.
um, for
Punks. No.
themselves, you know. Yeah, well, because they can't help it. They can't help it. I mean, sometimes that they're their own worst enemy. So yeah, you suck, Morgoth.
Yeah.
Sucks to be you. All right. Okay, I'm going to continue with Tolkien's words just because it's so epic. So every now and then I will do the the long worded stuff. But at the last, the king grew weary, and Morgoth bore down his shield upon him. Thrice he was crushed to his knees, and thrice arose again and bore up his broken shield and stricken helm. But the earth was all rent and pitted about him, and he stumbled and fell backward before the feet of Morgoth. And Morgoth set his left foot upon his neck, and the weight of it was like a fallen hill. Yet with his last and desperate stroke, Fingolfin hewed the foot of Ringel, and the blood gushed forth, black and smoking, and filled the pits of Grond. Yay! Thus died Fingolfin, High King of the Noldor, most proud and valiant of the elven kings of old.
Oh man, sad face.
Yeah. Yeah, with his last, so yeah, he still hewed his foot, and of course that's kind of symbolic, you know, when you hew the foot, you know, striking at the heel or whatever, that's a thing. So, yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. I'm like, poor guy.
yeah,
Oh, because he was honestly, in my opinion, very valiant, very true to his word, very loyal, very faithful, and to at least he went down in a fashion of his choosing. But it still sucked to see him go. You know.
yeah. Oh yeah, we love ourselves some Fingolfin. It was epic. I mean, is it that was, gosh, what an epic battle. And this is also from the Tolkien's words. The orcs made no boast of that duel at the gate. Neither do the elves sing of it, for their sorrows too deep. So yeah, it was so much victory in the sense that Fingolfin shouldn't have even gotten that close. You know, like Morgoth should have just come out and just struck him down. So they didn't want to boast about it, and the elves, of course, are too sad. Yet the tale of it is remembered still. For Throndor, king of eagles, brought the tidings to Gondolin. So yay, we've got
Yay!
Throndor. But then check this out. What a jerk. And Morgoth took the body of the elven king and broke it and would cast
Oh.
it to his wolves. But Throndor came hasting from his eyrie among the peaks of, I can't pronounce it, and he stooped upon Morgoth and marred his face. So this dude's getting wounded. It's like, yeah, eagle, take him out, you know?
I know I had that. I don't know if you had that line in your head from the movie The Eagles Are Coming, but whenever they kind of made their appearance, that's what went in my head from Pippin. The Eagles are coming. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I'm so stupid.
Yeah, and he doesn't yeah, he doesn't quite say how he marred his face. And was it with his talons, with his beak, whatever it is? I bet it was badass. And it says the rushing of the wings of Throndor was like the noise of the winds of Manwë. And he seized the body in his mighty talons, and soaring away suddenly above the darts of the orcs, he bore the king away and laid him upon a mountain top. So that's just a beautiful, beautiful imagery of the soaring eagle, and just good stuff. We love ourselves the eagles. We love our animals here at Miss Smart Muses, but we especially love the king of eagles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then it says about Morgoth. Morgoth went ever halt of 1 foot after that day, and the pain of his wounds could not be healed. And in his face was the scar that Throndor made. See, how badass is that? The fact that he's permanently wounded and struck at the heel. That's the thing about the devil. The striking at the heel, that's in Genesis 3:15. She will strike at your heel, and he will, gosh, what is it? I'm gonna have to give away my baptism certificate, but you know what I mean. The striking of the heel is Satan. It's a thing.
Yeah.
And so he bore that. So every time he limped, and he was always in pain, and on his face was the scar. And of course, Morgoth is proud. So you know that this totally, totally messed with
Humiliated him?
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time people look at him, they're like, that's when an eagle got ya, you punk.
What
So
a little
what a
wuss.
little bitch. Yeah. Yeah.
Could you imagine the Nelson, like, pointing and laughing thing, you know?
Ha
But a Balrog instead.
ha.
Yeah. That's kinda what I get in my head, you know?
Yeah, it's great. Okay, I got it. I will enmity, and between he will crush your head and you will strike his heel. The woman strikes the heel. Okay. So yeah. Loser. Yeah, just like, it's the same thing with the devil, he's just loser. So proud. Oh, someone's saying he's doing well. Sort of Poop says the 10th volume of Christopher Tolkien's History of Middle Earth is called Morgul's Ring, and it goes into a lot of detail about this. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool.
Oh my gosh. Sort of Poop says orcs making eagle noises behind his back.
Like, doing the little gossip whispers and making those eagle noises and, like,
and then
laughing.
they turn around to like, it wasn't me, or like they point, it was him.
Yeah. They put their hands up and like, oh no, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh boy. Okay. Let me see. And by the way, Potato Reverend, I did star your comment. I'll get to it because I think that that's kind of relevant, especially when we're talking about this. But I want to get through the chapter before I do so. So we got all that fun stuff with Fingolfin, blah blah. But now I'm going back to the summary. Fingolfin. Oh yeah, we know he died. Duh. Fingolfin would be succeeded by his son. Here we go. Fingon. So now Fingon, gosh, why are these names? Fingon, High King of the Noldor. Morgoth's wrath would turn to the men with Barahir. Barahir fought the orcs for all of the land he had, but the fight was soon desperate enough that his wife Imeldir took the women and children and fled to Brethil. Barahir became an outlaw, leading a band against Morgoth along with his sons Beren. For 2 long years, the Noldor endured against Morgoth, defending the pass of blah, 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 blah. Their defense was broken by the greatest of Morgoth's servants, the powerful necromancer known as Sauron. So we got some Sauron action happening here. And he would turn the tower into Tol Ingub, a place of evil and dark sorcery. This opened the passes for Morgoth, who sent his armies into Beleriand and captured all of the elves he could. He would break their wills and bring them to sway. He would also force them to man his great smithies and work his mines in Angband. This sowed distrust among the elves for any escaped prisoners who were suspected to be servants of Morgoth, willing or no. So yeah, it sucks to be you if you escape from all this, and then people think, well, you're just a spy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna skip through some of this. I'm just saying because it's a lot of battle stuff and it's very long. But to make a very long story short, Morgoth's victory was great but not complete. He could not learn the location of Nagathron, and he knew nothing of Gondolin or the whereabouts of Turgon. So, to make a long story short, that's how things ended up. In addition, he had underestimated the strength of his enemies and suffered losses himself, so that he could not wholly subdue his opponents. He recalled his forces back to Angband, and Beleriand was given a short reprieve for a while. Within 7 years, though, Morgoth renewed his attack against Hithilim. His forces attacked Ethelsirion, killing Galdor, but they were driven back by his son Hurin. Hey, we know that name.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. Children of Hurin. Fingon also has attacked, but was saved by the arrival of ships sent by Círdan the shipwright. Thus the lordship of Dol Lórien passed to Hurin. Wow. Well, what the hell, Rennie?
I know, right? One thing I do like about, like, the recent happenings that you were just talking about is it wasn't just the elves fighting Morgoth. It wasn't just the Valar. It was also men. And, men don't have the same strength as elves and don't have the same strength as the Valar or the Maiar or whatever. So for the fact that, you have these noble men like, gosh, what's his name? Baren's father, Barahir,
Hmm.
um, you know, leading a charge against them, knowing that, their odds are not good. This tells you that these are really, really awesome people, in my opinion. So,
Yeah.
you get your little introduction to Beren and you get to understand kind of where he comes from and who he is in this like little bit of a snippet. But for them to go against such a strong foe, knowing that they don't stand a good chance, speaks a lot to the character, and it makes me glad to know that they have the kinship of Finrod. What is his last name? Felagund, I believe. Um,
I can't pronounce it.
yeah, it's so hard because there's so many names and there's
Super
so
kidding.
many, it's just tough. And but to see these other elves rejected them, knowing that they're fighting the same battle, it's like, can't we be friends? So, it's a little concerning, but at the same time, just to see like everyone standing up against Morgoth, also knowing the mentality that must strike in him going, oh, nobody likes me except for my peeps in my little Hellion castle, so to speak. So, and he
Yeah.
he wanted to be lord of the earth. He wanted everyone to love him and to lust after him, so to speak, and the things that he wanted, and that just didn't happen.
Yeah. Dang, girl. Well said. You're rolling 20s here.
Don't expect it every day, man.
Okay, well, but I think this is great, and I'm so happy you're here because I know that this is really close to your heart. I just have to say, Jacob Ironside, I'm surrounded by orc. Wait, did I already say that?
No, I don't think so.
No, I didn't. I just said it inside my head. I'm
Yes.
surrounded by orcals. Morgoth, yes.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, hello, Mr. Brown. Thank you for popping in. Much appreciated. Um, Potato Revan says Morgoth keeps winning, but never for long. Shows dark times are always temporary, as the saying goes. This too shall pass. And to quote DC, at the end of the darkest night is the brightest day.
Yeah.
Even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. Right? Les Miserables. Have you seen that?
Yeah, not in a while, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's true. And I think that, of course, that's what Tolkien says is that any rebellion against God, if you will, it won't win. Darkness will never win. It just always seems temporary because darkness cannot overcome the light. It's like, you get into a dark room, you light a candle, immediately the darkness is dispelled.
Yeah.
You got a vampire, you show crucifix, yeah, they just run away. What's another one? Oh, an exorcism.
Or garlic.
You throw garlic, yeah, you throw holy water, the devil
Yeah.
flees. All that fun stuff. And yeah, you should see my kit. It's intense. I got it all. I got the salt, I got the oil, I got the holy water, rosaries, everything. You name it. And they're also very beautiful, but that I digress. But the point is, I good point. And then also, since we have to have great philosophical talks here, the Potato Revan brings up: is it me or do Iluvatar seem like a for not stepping in? You'd think he would undo Melkor. Yeah, that's the question for the ages too about all of the divine.
Well,
Why
but
did Iluvatar not step in? Couldn't he just go, oh, boom, and solve everything?
didn't he give Manwë dominion over Middle Earth? Maybe he just didn't want to step on his toes. Like he gave it to him, so that was his to run. And maybe he felt like, you know what, since I gave it to him, I'm gonna let him do what he needs to do with it, and it'll go how it goes under his rule. I don't know, but that's the way I look at it.
Mhm.
For him not stepping in.
Yeah. Well, and he also gave them free will.
Yeah.
So they were the ones that made the choices to frack around like this
Yeah.
too. They rebelled against the Valar. Morgoth rebelled against the Iluvatar, and that I'm going into now my theology. Catholic theology is that God gives free will. We're not predestined. We don't believe in predestination. So that sometimes the biggest way that God can quote unquote punish you, Thomas Aquinas says, is he gives you what you want. Like that
Yeah.
God doesn't punish. It's like, why is God doing this to me? It's like, no, God's allowing you to have consequences. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
that's
it.
fair.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a quote I often use. I'm stealing from Thomas Aquinas is, don't getting what you want is the biggest punishment of all. Also taken for what's that quote? Be careful what you wish for, all that stuff.
Yeah, and have you noticed, like, stuff that you want, need, or desire, the chase or the thrill of it is more exciting, or it seems better than it is because once you get it, it's not as great as you thought it would be sometimes?
Precisely. And what is really behind this pursuit of something that you don't want? I mean, is it really something like, for example, I could say this: if I were to be a millionaire, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh, I'd be happy. And then if I get the million, would I be happy or would I feel just the same? Now, don't get me wrong, the stress would be gone from maybe bills, all that kind of stuff. But would it make me happy? Or even
That's a
that's
good
a
question.
yeah, or even finding the love of your life. Does that make you happy? That's always a question. Is I mean, yes, it does make you happy, but you still have to love yourself. If
That's
that
true.
if that makes sense. And so I've seen people, they think they're in love and they have these big, huge, I mean, unbelievably expensive weddings. I would
Ugh.
never, yeah.
Well,
And
you
then
spend, like, what could be, like, a down payment of a house on a wedding, I don't
yeah,
understand.
because it's a wedding. Because in the head is the wedding. It's not the marriage. It's not the love of your life. Now, I understand that in some contexts it can be a celebration of your love, but you know what I'm saying? When it says pursuit, and then I've seen the same people get divorced in 2 years. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, so where was your foundation?
Yeah, what really brought you together? Was the wedding about your love, or was it just like, "Oh, I have to have the best dress and I have to have this." So what was it really about?
Yeah, and I've got a quote here from Augustus McCrae. If you've ever seen Lonesome Dove, because he's telling this one girl that she's a hooker and she has it in her head that if she would only just get to go to San Francisco and get away from this small town Lonesome Dove, then she'd be happy. And he says, Lori, darling, life in San Francisco is just life. If you want one thing too badly, it's likely to turn out to be a disappointment.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then he goes on to say the only healthy way to live life is to learn to like all the little everyday things. But so good question. Got us going on the philosophy, but I think it's relevant. Sometimes I don't always want to go on tangents, but I think this is a tangent that's relevant to what we're seeing. Oh, I'm sorry. I put up the quote, but did I actually say it? Yeah. Jacob Ironside said, there's still good in this world and it's worth fighting for. Yes.
Yes.
And don't
That's
get
a
me wrong.
Samwise Gamgee quote.
Yeah, yeah. And don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to put down love or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, these things are very but I'm just saying if that's your one anything that's your one ring, anything that's your precious. Uh and again, it can be a job, it can be a car, it can be so-called esteem from the world, it can be I think the YouTube channel for some is a precious. I love my YouTube channel, don't get me wrong, but you know what I'm saying? If you want one thing too much, if only I can get to 1,000, if only I can get to 2,000, oh, I really need to get to 5,000. Is that really making you happy? And I'm speaking as a YouTuber, so I'm pointing a finger, but I know I have four back at myself because that's something that I have to continually reflect upon.
Well, that's a good point, isn't it? And like even at a job, right? So you have
Mhm.
goals and metrics that you need to make at most jobs. So when it's like, okay, I made this goal. Oh, okay, now we need you to get here. That wasn't good enough. Now you need to go further and do this. Okay, well, I've
Mhm.
made this goal. Well, now we need to go further and do this. It's like it's a never ending battle. So once you reach what you need to reach, is it ever really good enough?
No. Exactly. So that's a long answer to your question, Potato Revan. I don't know if you're still here, but yeah. Snortopoopas gives us some insight. I keep my sights set low. I would really like to have a nice Philly cheesesteak, but I wouldn't sell my soul for it. No. Oh gosh. That reminds me of the story of Bible where that one guy sold his birthright for some porridge or something.
I hope
It
it
was
was
meta.
really good porridge.
I was gonna say, of course, I always tell people it was metaphorical. Some of this stuff, okay, obviously, no one, like he was that hungry that he did that, or maybe he really did, and he was really that much of an idiot. But my goodness gracious! All right, any last thoughts on this chapter? Speak now or forever destroy your happiness. Sorry.
I like the way you say that. That's so funny. No, it's a really good chapter. I like the introduction, the small one that we get to Beren and his kin, and I like the fact that you got to see them. One of the most noble elves fight for what he thought was right,
Mhm.
and I think that's really interesting. I did enjoy, like I said, the introduction of Grond and the interweaving of dragons and stuff because you don't really get to hear about those in Lord of the Rings. You hear about it in The Hobbit because Smaug has the treasure, or basically claims the property of the dwarves, so to speak. But you never really get to see a whole lot of that. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, it shows you how horrible and how twisted Morgoth's mind is, right? So
Mhm.
no matter what, it's never good enough. And I think Potato Revan said it pretty well. Like basically, he's always winning the battles, right? But he never really wins the war, so to speak. So he's winning all these small battles, but then he keeps getting kicked back, and eventually he does lose the war because he basically gets sidetracked, or his mind gets set on something so petty that he forgets about everything else going on in the world. And and I think that's where his downfall really lies.
Mm.
So
Wow.
I feel like it's a good chapter.
Yay! Well, excellent. Holy moly, you're on fire today. Yeah, Jacob Ironside reminds me it was Jacob and Esau. Esau sold his birthright, to Jacob, and Jacob means usurper. Also, thank you for giving us the truth behind the man.
Yeah.
So Jacob Ironside, the usurper. Yeah. Uh, I love this quote too, Snort of Poop is from a man, a favorite quote of mine from A Man for All Season. For Wales, why Richard, it proffered a man nothing to give his soul for the whole world, but for Wales. Yes, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. I've seen it like more than Star Wars. I have it memorized. Yes, I once put a quote on Twitter about that, but for YouTube. But you could put that in for anything. It profit a man nothing to give his whole soul for, just put it in. Uh,
Yeah.
from Yeah, it's not worth it. Not worth selling your soul. Nothing is. Um, well, look at all the people who do it for politics.
Oh yeah.
People running for office. How often they sell their souls for 30 pieces of silver. Wow, you're deep, Tolkien. You're deep.
Yeah.
Speaking of deep, well, I don't know if this is deep, but I just decided to do a transition of Beren and Luthien, the
Woo.
chapter. Yay, your chapter. Now, before we get started, is there anything you want to say about Beren and Luthien?
Um Basically just to me one of the greatest love stories of all time, and the sacrifices and trials and um what's the word I'm looking for, but all the things and losses that you will go through just to be with the person you love. I just can't think
Mm.
of anything more more encouraging as far as thoughts. It's very sweet, but it's a very tragic chapter, but all the same I still love it.
Yeah, and I just gotten done saying that it's not worth doing all that for love, but let me make this clear for healthy love. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I wasn't clear before that that there is such a thing as laying down your life for your beloved and doing everything to be with your beloved. It's just if it I'm talking about the disordered kind of love, or not fake love, but
Obsession versus love, or,
mhm,
toxic relationships and things of
yeah,
that sort.
or even fantasy, what they call being
Yeah.
in love with being in love, and so you create this fantasy that's not, real.
Like how people love the idea of someone more than they actually love the person.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, before we go on, I just have to say from Snortopoopas, whales, WHLES, would be a different matter. Whales are tasty. Wow. Well, I know you all in the Northern Hemisphere like to eat your whales. I have heard it's very good. Okay.
That's a feast for a polar bear, man. It's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, well, it depends on the size of the whale, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what, hell, I don't know what whales are. I think of dolphins. Dolphins kind of a whale. Do you eat
Well, they're
dolphins?
related.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Do you eat dolphins, Snortopoopas? Jacob Ironside said Jacob also means heel grabber because Jacob grabbed Esau's heel as they were being born. Yeah, there you go. I told you there's a lot of that stuff. Yes. And so one could argue that that's what himself did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fingolfin. All right. So I'm going to go through the summary on this one. And again, I might switch over to Tolkien in a bit, but it says here, following the Dagor blah, 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 Barahir and his companions continued to defend their land. Dorthonion. It was to Tarn Elien, a lake in the east of the country, that they made their abode. Morgoth could not discover it, and he ordered Sauron to eliminate them. Through Sauron's devices, a member of the group named Gorlim was deceived into revealing the retreat of Barahir, and the company was slain by Sauron's orcs. All perished except Beren, son of Barahir, who was away on a perilous errand at the time. Coming to Beren in a dream, a wraith of Gorlim told him all and urged him to return in haste. Alas, he came too late and found his kin slain. He buried his father and slew the band of orcs responsible, reclaiming from them the Ring of Felagund. And if I mispronounced that, I'm sorry. Yeah, so that's intense. I think it's interesting that he was spoken to in a dream. That's how humans. I guess that's how they communicate with the closer to the divine. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was a neat concept. And, it was definitely fate that Beren was away, because or else he would have gotten slaughtered with everyone else when Sauron tortured Gorlim. So, I guess it's a good thing he wasn't there.
Yeah, it was meant to be. Um, and of course saving the ring. And Baron, I mean, he must have been a badass, and going in just slaying them all single handedly.
Yeah.
Looks like. And then thus, I always love thuses and therefores. You always ask what it's there for when you see a therefore. But this is a thus, same idea. Baron roamed Dorthonion, slaughtering many servants of Morgoth, and so a bounty was set upon his head, and Sauron's armies hounded him to such an extent that he was forced to flee Dorthonion, journeying through the horrors and terrors of arid Gorgoth, and then blah, 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 he came at length by paths untrodden to Doriath, where no mortal had yet been before. And here we go. Staggering into the woods of Neldoreth, he chanced upon Luthien, daughter of
Hmm.
Thingol and Melian, dancing in a clearing beside Ezebadun. He became utterly enchanted by her, and his agony departed him, for Luthien was the most beautiful of all the children of Iluvatar. And he called out to her, naming her Tinuviel. And as she looked on him, doom fell upon her, and she loved him. For a brief time, long ago in the woods of Doriath, their joy was the greatest that had been among all the children of Iluvatar.
Oh.
Aw. The part of me is like, really? You just saw some chicks dancing and fell completely. The way they fell completely in love, I'm always a little bit skeptical of that. On the other hand, dude doesn't have a lot of time to explain.
Yeah, he's seen a lot of not so fun stuff. So, maybe seeing somebody full of joy was just kind of a bit uprising for him, so to speak. So it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
amidst all the evil, there is some good and some beauty in this world.
Yeah. And it says here, this is from Tolkien's word, as Beren beheld him or whatever, says, then the spell of silence fell from Beren and he called out to her. So he was, kind of a little bit messed up. Then she halted in wonder and fled no more, and Beren came to her. But as she looked on him, doom fell upon her, and she loved him. Yet she slipped from his arms and vanished from his sight, even as the day was breaking. Then Beren lay upon the ground in a swoon, as one laid at once by bliss and grief. And soon he fell into a sleep as if it were an abyss of shadow. And waking, he was cold as stone, and his heart barren and forsaken. And wandering in mind, he groped as one that is stricken with sudden blindness, and seeks with his hands upon to grasp the vanished light. Thus he began the payment of anguish for the fate that was laid upon him, and in his fate Luthien was caught. And being immortal, she shared in his mortality, and being free, received his chain. And her anguish was greater than any other of the Eldaba has known. So that's what the hell does that mean?
Yeah. I guess like I took it as, and they kind of speak of this in Lord of the Rings, or I want to say they kind of hint at it that when an elf are, because Luthien's half elf, half Maiar, I think, right? Because Melian's her mom. So, when an elf falls in love with a human, it's a tragedy for the elf, the man or the human. They have a short life; they're going to die. So the elf has to decide to, live as a mortal or to leave their love behind. So either way, it's tragic, So
Yeah.
that's what I get out of it.
Yeah. And I mean, also talking about the agony and the ecstasy of true love, uh, that you want to be with your beloved and all that. And I
Yeah.
also want to say, I mean, check this out about Luthien. Not only was she the most beautiful, it says she's the most beautiful. Blue was her raiment as the unclouded heaven, but her eyes were gray as the starlit evening. Her mantle was sewn with golden flowers, and her hair was dark as the shadows of twilight. As light upon the tree of leaves, as the voice of clear waters, as the stars above the mists of the world, such was her glory and her loveliness. And in her face was a shining light. And it also says that she was singing too when he came upon her. So we're talking about almost he's touching the divine.
Yeah. And I feel like this is kind of like a reflection back to when Thingol fell in love with Melian, because it was kind of the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was singing or doing whatever, and he was enraptured or bewitched by it, even though that wasn't the intent. It was just like, oh my God, she's beautiful, she's amazing. And, they just kind of, he just became so enchanted with it and couldn't speak, couldn't do anything. And they just kind of sat there for a while, I guess, absorbing each other, not to be gross or anything, but it was just so encompassing, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. So I feel like this is kind of like a reflection or callback to that.
Oh, okay. Well, yay. And then, and of course, Beren was all happy when she came back and they were prancing through the woods, or what does it say? They went in secret through the woods together from spring to summer. And no others of the children of Iluvatar have had joy so great, though the time was brief. Because we've got the green-eyed monster. The green-eyed monster never
Yeah,
fails.
every
There's
time.
Darren. I'm going to call him Darren. I hope I'm saying it right. The minstrel. He also loved her, and so he was jealous, and he betrayed them to Thingol, who was mad, who was furious. I'm back at the summary. For Luthien he said above all things, while of mortal men he took little heed. And so Thingol demanded to know Beren's business in Doriath. Finding resolve, Beren answered that his fate led him to what he sought not. Luthien. Well, that's a way to. It's like, it's
Yeah.
my fate to take your daughter. Which he sought not, so it came suddenly to him. At this, many thought Beren would be slain. Indeed, desiring his death, Thingol set upon him the nigh hopeless task of bringing him a Silmaril. So instead of kicking the crap out of him, or the metaphorical shotgun, he's like, why don't you go bring me a Cimmeril from the crown of Morgoth? And they're all going, that'll take care of this loser. Only then would he allow Beren to receive Luthien as his bride. Thus began the quest of the Cimmeril. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, that just cracks me up. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you want my daughter? Go get me a and this
Yeah.
human.
Just go to Angband and fight Morgoth and all this Balrogs and orcs and stuff. It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
I mean, an elf couldn't kill him. I mean, even so. Yeah, I think that's great. So meanwhile, oh wait, not meanwhile. This is a continuation. We have the quest of the Cimmeril. Turning towards, I can't pronounce it, Beren sought out the council of Finrod, who, recalling his vow to the kin of Barahir, gathered together a band of his most loyal chieftains. Departing from Angband, Felagund used his craft to disguise his groups as a pack of orcs. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course we've seen that before when Frodo and Sam were able to do that. These are men though, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe they had to scoop over, and so they. Sorry, I have this image now of them kind of.
Oh no.
Okay, and so they hoped to pass by unnoticed, but Sauron was suspicious of them. Yeah, because they were like towering over the rest of the orcs, or like, who are those dudes leaning over on all fours?
Yeah.
Or on their knees.
Something not right about these guys.
Yeah. And I love this. And dueled long in song with Thalagund. But alas, the victory belonged to Sauron. In stripping them of their disguises, they were made to languish in a deep pit. One by one, Sauron sent werewolves to devour the companions in the hope of obtaining their purpose, but all were faithful to their lord. When the wolf came for Beren, Felagund slew it with his bare hands, dude, but in doing so was mortally wounded. Bidding Beren a final farewell, he died in the darkness of the tower he himself had built long ago. Thus ended the fairest and most beloved of the Noldor, Finrod. So there we go.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
that
okay.
made me sad.
Yeah. Okay. Snorta Poops is helping me out. It's Diron. Diron? Okay. With a slight trill. All right. Hello. Thank you, Rough Gold TV. Yeah. So, that's pretty fun. I mean, not fun. I mean, it's terrible, but it's also kind of cool. All of that stuff.
Yeah, you just feel bad for, Finrod Felagund for, extends the arm of friendship to these men when other elves do not wish to. You've got Thingol who's like, well, he doesn't like anyone. It's like anyone that comes to Doriath, he's like, oh, are you one of my people? Nah, you can go. That's
Uh-huh.
pretty much his attitude because he did that with the Noldor as well. And then, you have someone like Finrod Felagund that's like, you know what? There's good people in every one of the children of Iluvatar. So, I'm going to try to, be friends with the good ones. And, you know, he had, he had a friend that came to him, for guidance, and he actually personally assisted him as well as some of his men. And, to give up his life to save a friend. I mean, very, very kind of him and spoke to his heart and soul. So, just really sad when he dies trying to save his friend. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. What did they say? Greater love have no man than to give up his life for his friends. And in Tolkien's word, it says that Finrod, fairest and most beloved of the house of Inway, redeemed his oath. What a
which is
guy.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that means that, he actually gets to enjoy Valinor.
Yay. He gets to go
Yeah.
to elf heaven or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah. Oh boy. And I love it. There's lots of singing. I mean, this idea, unfortunately, of this whole Felagund and Sauron having a singing sing off. I
Oh, yeah.
I just think of it something like, some of those parodies and those comedy shows, or like Valjean and Javert and Les Mis the musical, I am warning you, and they're just
Yeah.
singing back and forth. But I know it's not really that, because songs are something of immense power, and Luthien's going to show up and start singing.
I just thought, man, too bad Steeg's missing this part. He'd
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, he's missing all the singing. I mean,
Yeah.
I just imagine the going, "Kill the rat, da, 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 da," then someone goes, "Ba, ba, 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 ba." It's
See, that
just
reminds me of that Bugs Bunny cartoon. I'm sorry, that's awful.
yeah, I
Killed a
know.
wabbit.
Wabbit, kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Well, I was the one that started singing too. Yeah, the. All right. Keck 44. Hello, Keck. It's great to see you. Says Tinkle's fate was caught up in the Noldor's curse by tasking Baron. Tingle was warned against it by Melian. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, and I guess Luthien singing, I would imagine, would be something like, I don't know, like in those Disney princesses, but more like the old one, like Snow White or Sleeping Beauty,
Where all the animals come to watch and follow and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know you. And
Yeah.
once upon a dream.
That's amazing.
Well, because that's kind of what I just imagined, because with all the singing and dancing around, and we
Yeah.
got birds, and yeah, I know, yeah, Ancient One. I know we all miss Steeg. Speaking of Sleeping Beauty, yeah. I'm not sure if he would like that comparison, but that's okay. He's asleep. We can say whatever we want.
Hey, it's a compliment. Beauty.
It is a compliment. Yes.
He's sleeping and you're calling him a beauty. There you go.
Yay. There we are. But I don't think he'd be twirling and dancing with birds.
Oh,
and
no,
singing.
definitely not.
No, that's not his thing. He likes to, especially if it's a seagull. He likes to kill him. All right, let's continue. Let's continue.
So
Turning
funny.
towards, I can't say the name. Baron sought out. Wait. Where the hell? Oh, it jumped on me. My fault. We already talked about that. Okay, he died.
Yay.
And then comes, in the hour of Baron's capture. Here we go. A heaviness fell upon the heart of Luthien. So like they got this like psychic thing between each other, and she left Doroth in pursuit of him, encountering Kelegorm and Corofin and Juan, the Hound of the Valar. She was glad, but through treachery, the two brothers took her as prisoner to I can't say it. But Juan had grown to love her. Nabbit, everyone. And for the first time spoke, giving her counsel, and helped her to escape. With speed, the two came to Tol Iga at the hour of Felagund's death. So this was kind of this was a meanwhile. And Sauron smiled, for he knew great reward would await him for the capture of Luthien, daughter of the Maya Melian. So he sent wolves, including Dragloon, father of werewolves, to capture her. But Juan slew them all like a boss. Then Sauron came himself, taking the form of a mighty wolf, and fought with Juan. But not even he could defeat the Hound of the Valar.
Haha.
Yeah, and this is where we see when they talk about Sauron's connection with wolves and things. Yeah, and he could even take the form of a mighty wolf. Thus, he was forced to yield Tol Igarroth to Luthien, and he fled. Luthien removed the ill shadow from that isle and came to Baron. Together, they buried the body of Felagund and left that place, and Juan returned to his master, Celeborn. So, yay!
Yay.
Yeah. I guess there's not much commentary, but yay!
Well, I thought it was cool. He's the Hound of the Valar. So that's a powerful pup, man. I mean, he packs a punch.
Yeah.
So I thought he was pretty cool. I mean, this is just a dog. And he's just going around, I'll kick your ass, bring it.
Yeah.
Sorry for the crassness. I don't know how else to say that.
No, absolutely. And then the text here, I'm now reading from Tolkien. Now Baron and Luthien to Nuville went free again, and together walked through the woods, renewing for a time their joy. And though winter came, it hurt them not, for flowers lingered where Luthien went, and the birds sang beneath the snow-clad hills. So the birds were the birds were singing. It's just like that scene in Sleeping Beauty. They're dancing, and the birds, and
I mean, you've got like a chapter of pretty much romance, right? And
yeah.
so there's all this singing in it. And Stieg, we miss you so much because we know you'd love
Yeah.
it. But like, it's just funny because I'm like, oh, another song. Oh, somebody
Yeah.
else is singing.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But all in all, it's still good stuff. It's just hilarious how much, singing and,
Yeah.
flightiness there kind of is just everywhere.
Exactly. And like I said, the fact that the birds really started coming in, everyone loves it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And Juan goes back, because it's they always give an understatement where they say, but his love with gosh, what the hell is that guy's name? His love with Celeborn, his master, was less than before. Yeah, well, because they had obviously a little bit of a spat.
Well, Caligorn's mean, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can understand that. You want to be loyal and faithful, but at the same time, it's like this dude's kind of a jerk, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah. And well, it starts with a D, and
There you go. I
second word
almost
is a
said that.
bag.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Continuing with the summary. By chance, the two brothers, Celegorm and Carafum, came upon Beren and Luthien near to the forest of Barathil. Saw them dancing and prancing and birds singing. No, I added that. And sought to take Luthien by force and kill Beren. My gosh, what psychos. But in that hour, Juan forsake the service of Celegorm. Yay! And came to the aid of Beren, who leapt onto the horse of Curufin. See, this is like a fairy tale epic here. And Tolkien did have a great admiration for fairy tales. Knocking him off. After taking horse and knife, Agrist from Curufin, Beren bade him return, impoverished, to his king. Being humiliated, Curufin took the bow of Celeborn and fired at Luthien. Wow! Fatal attraction.
What a
Springing
D-bag.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess D-bag is an understatement. Springing to protect her, Beren was hit. So he did a no.
There's so many scenes that pop into my head when you read stuff like that, It's just, I can't.
I know, and I'm sorry I'm ruining the great romance. And Beren was hit. Juan pursued the brothers who fled, and upon returning, he brought a herb to Luthien, who by her craft healed Beren. Eventually, they returned to Doriath. So he's the only dude that we know of that was brought back to life.
Human, yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Pretty
Yeah.
freaking cool.
And maybe a little bit not fair.
But he was pure of heart. I really feel like. I think
Mhm.
that that's why he had so many chances, is because he really was a good person. He had a good heart. He didn't go after Morgoth for glory, at least when he was fighting with his father and all that. He went after him because it was the right thing to do, and to fight for, Middle Earth, and, for everybody to be able to live a peaceful life. I mean, of course, after he made that oath to Thingol, he went after him for a Silmaril, but it was because of the woman he loved and he wanted to be with her, not because he had anything to prove.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it like, I feel like, because I've had myself like, thinking that same stuff when I was reading through the chapter because of, what happens in the end. And I'm like, you know what? He just had a very pure soul and a good heart. And I think that this is why he had the chances that he had, because most men did not have those chances, or I don't think any other man did. So I thought that was awesome. And I just wanted to kind of put it out there. I just thought of whenever they said the weed that she healed him with, was it Kingsfoil? They don't say, but
Yeah.
I like to think it was.
It was weed.
Yeah. Yeah, bro.
Yeah. So, but if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is that Beren had Beren privilege.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, because I can't say human privilege or men privilege, because, So find yourself an immortal chick. Well, but it keeps going. Oh, someone said Kingsweed, who is Soul Assassin. Yeah, it shows up on. There it is. There it is. Okay, Kingsweed. So continuing summary. There, Baron left Luthien in the care of Juan and departed for Angband. Arriving at the borders of some big long word, Bareth lamented in the belief that this would be his final peril, and sung the farewell song of parting.
No.
And yeah, the song is there. And this is from Tolkien's work. And he sang aloud, caring not what ear should overhear him, for he was desperate and looked for no escape. So that's always what Steve gets PO'd about, because he's like, I can understand singing for a party, but not
Right? The enemy's at your front door and you're just going to start singing and letting them know where you are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Luthien was able to hear the song because I guess, psychic connection. And I'm back at the text here, the summary rather. But unsought for, Luthien appeared upon Juan and came to him once more. Juan spoke for the second time then, counseling Baron that he could no longer save Luthien from her fate. Well, yeah. I mean, I thought that was, never mind. And so, taking the guise of Dragba and the bat-like messenger of Sauron, Thorin together, Baron and Luthien passed through perils untold until they arrived, weary and weather-worn, at the gates of Angband. So, there's a long time here where they're like being like a power couple, and doing all sorts of stuff together.
Yeah. And then I like how they disguise themselves. I thought that was pretty interesting because how can you disguise yourself as a wolf or a bat? It's weird. So, but they went undetected and unnoticed because people just thought they were animals for a while. So I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting and definitely wouldn't know how to do that in today's society. But
yeah, hey,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, do they look like furries or something?
Right? I mean, I guess as long as they're both animals, it doesn't count, right? No.
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe it's the magic of Luthien. Maybe she was singing, and that helped. I don't know. Snorted Poopa says special delivery for Morgoth. Yeah. Oh gosh. To their dismay, guarding the entrance to Angband was a creature of whom no news had previously reached the ears of the Noldor, the great wolf Karkbaba. He was suspicious of them. He's like, that's not a wolf, that's a furry. And, and for news of the demise of blah blah had reached Angband, and he approached them with menace. But by some power of Luthien, she commanded the wolf to slumber, and into unconsciousness he fell. So yeah, Luthien does have these powers. Then Baron and Luthien crossed the threshold of Angband, descended down to subterranean chambers, and together wrought the greatest deed that has ever been dared by elves or by men in the history of Arda. For they arrived in the throne room of Morgoth, a court filled with horrors untold, where Balrogs patrolled. Luthien's disguise was robbed of her by the will of Morgoth, and standing before his gaze, she began to sing to him a song of such outstanding power and beauty that he was put into dreams of the void, and he slammed into the ground unconscious. She sang a smiting song.
Oh dear.
It must have been pretty intense. Was it a lullaby? Was it? I don't know. And he slammed to the ground unconscious, but all his courts slumbered. Then, removing his wolf hame, Baron cut with Angrist a Silmaril from the crown of Morgoth. He groaned. All the legions of Angband stirred in their sleep. So, yeah, just, I guess, who knew that all you had to do was sing to Morgoth and that would take care of the problem?
Right? I feel like when I read through this part, I don't know if you caught it too, but it kind of felt like Morgoth had a little bit of a thing for Luthien. when he
Oh,
saw her and when she sang to him. That's what it kind of felt like to me, because I forget the way that it's worded, but it just sounded like he at least like lusted or fantasized after her a little bit.
yeah. Well, if she's supposed to be the hottest chick, let me see
Right?
here. I'm looking at the text. Gosh, that chick just keeps dancing.
It's all she got, man.
Yeah,
She's very exotic.
yeah. Sarah for fellow. Oh wait, that's gosh. What happened was I dropped my book, and now Baron went. Wait. How many times do they just go wandering around the woods and singing and all that
It
kind of?
feels like a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, here we go. Here we go. When well, I don't know. Did he dig her? He doesn't actually say anything to her. Yeah, she commanded him to sleep, saying, "O woe begotten spirit, fall now." Okay, wait, that's the other bad guy. That's not sorry.
See, it says, then Morgoth, looking upon her beauty, conceived in his thought an evil lust.
Oh, I found it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I didn't know like if that meant like, something very cruel, but it just sounded like he kind of at least fantasized about her to me. So,
Yeah, an evil lust and a design more dark than any that had yet come to in his heart since he fled from Valinor. So, yeah, he's a. We're talking. He's gonna Bill Cosby or something. I'm trying to think of a
right?
way
I
to
know.
say it. That doesn't that sound like it's really evil what he's wanting? Yeah, thank you for helping me out there. I got lost. Thus he was beguiled by his own malice, for he watched her, leaving her free for a while, and taking, oh my gosh, secret
Secret.
pleasure. Okay,
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I think he kind of
oh
has some something, a little something something for
yeah, because he left her for a while, taking secret pleasure in his. Oh, yuck! We all know what that means. Okay, when I'm reading this, I'm just like, yeah, looking here. Yeah, it's interesting how, yeah, wow. And
Sorry
then,
to ruin everyone's morning. Or early
yeah,
afternoon.
I hope you're not eating breakfast. Okay, I'm sorry, and I am seeing here about the song. The song of such surpassing loveliness and of such blinding power. Yeah, but it still doesn't say what kind it was. So, because he listened and the blindness fell upon her. Holy moly. Yeah, and the burden of the crown of the jewels bowed down his head as though the weight were set upon it, laden with the weight of care, of fear, of desire. Okay. She just keeps singing. It's funny.
I mean, it definitely works for her, right? It kind of enraptured Baron, and it kind of I want to say, did she sing to the werewolf at the entrance? I can't remember. Was she just kind of talking and doing her like dark veil thing that she did with her hair? I can't remember.
No, she just gave him a command. Lifting up her
Okay,
hand, she commanded him to sleep.
that's it.
Okay. And I'm looking here this is Tolkien's words. As a dead beast, Beren lay upon the ground, but Luthien, touching him with her hand, aroused him. That's like, what? Really? Tolkien,
Noise.
couldn't you have thought of a different word? Come on, Christopher, couldn't you have just changed that? Come on. And touching with her hand woke him up. That's all you had to say. But touching him with her hand aroused him, and he cast aside his wolf frame, and and then he took the Silmaril out. So as he closed his hand on the Silmaril, the radiance welled through his living flesh, and his hand became a shining lamp. But the jewel suffered his touch and hurt him not. You see,
Because he's pure of heart and
Ye-
won't attack him like it did Morgoth.
exactly. And I would also say because he doesn't desire it either for the wrong reasons. He doesn't want it for power or anything.
No,
He's not coming it to become lord of the world or something.
he just wants to be with his woman.
Yeah. Well, and so then the wolf woke up, and it says Luthien was spent, and she had not time nor strength to quell the wolf. But Beren strode forth before her, and in his right hand he held aloft the Silmaril. And Carcahoth halted, and for a moment was afraid. "Get you gone and fly!" cried Beren, sorry, "for here is a fire that shall consume you and all evil things." And he thrust the Silmaril before the eyes of the wolf. So we've seen that before. That Frodo did that with the light of Arendelle or whatever.
Oh yeah, to
Mhm.
Shelob.
Mhm. Contains also the light from the trees, but Kakarbaba. Wait, not from the trees. I'm sorry.
From the
You know what I mean?
star.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay. But Kakarot looked upon that holy jewel and was not daunted, and the devouring spirit within him awoke to sudden fire, and gaping, he suddenly took the hand within his jaws, and he bit it off at the wrist. Then swiftly, all his inwards were filled with a flame of anguish, and the Silmaril seared his accursed flesh. So for him, it seared him. Howling, he fled before them, and the walls of the valley of the gate echoed with the clamor of his torment. So terrible did he become in his madness that all the creatures of Morgoth that abode in that valley or upon any of the roads that led hither fled far away. For he slew all living things that stood in his path, and burst from the north and ruin upon the world. Of all the terrors that came ever to the Beleriand ere Angbad's fall, the madness of blah 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 was most dreadful, for the power of the Silmaril was hidden within him. So there we go. This, for him, it drove him mad.
Yeah. It poisoned his mind and drove him insane.
Yeah.
Because he was evil.
So there we go. Ah, yikes. And now Beren lay in a swoon within the perilous gate and drew nigh him, for there was venom in the fangs of the wolf. And Luthien with her lips drew out the venom, and she put forth her failing power to staunch the hideous wound. Dang, girl.
Yeah. She healed him like how many times?
I
Like
know.
she drained herself or her strength trying to heal him so many times.
Yeah. I mean, I said it's Beren privilege. I mean, just because he's Beren, he gets all these perks.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe it's girlfriend privilege.
That could be that too. A little both.
Yeah. Oh, High Time Prophet surely should use her teeth to draw it out. Jacob Ironside says Beren would walk 500 miles for his woman and then walk 500 more. Yeah. All right. All right. So, I'm sorry, Kelvington. It's kind of the way it was. I was trying to use a euphemism. What can I say? Because YouTube's weird sometimes. It's absurd.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
thus the quest of the Silmaril was like to have ended in ruin and despair, but at that hour above the wall of the valley, 3 mighty birds appeared. Yay!
Yay, the eagles are coming.
Yeah, with wings swifter than the wind. Among the birds and beasts, the wandering and the need of Beren had been noise. You see, that's why you need to be friends with the animals. Yeah, that's why
That's right.
I'm friendly with the animals. All the animals here at Miss Martin Muses. And Juan himself had bidden all things watch, that they might bring him aid. High above the realm of Morgoth, the Throndor and his vassal's sword, and seeing now the madness of the wolf and Beren's fall, they came swiftly down, and they lifted up Beren and Luthien from the earth and brought them up to the clouds. I mean, holy moly, this is like some intense drug tripping stuff here.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. And I mean, I don't know if you think this when you read this chapter or whenever you think of the eagles, but when they talk about how the eagles are basically or the majestic birds are basically Manway's pets or his, right under his rule, you wonder, did he send them to save them? I mean, that's pretty cool if he did, but I don't know, it just kind of goes through my mind. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's no, it's cool. It's you're romantic. A whole new world.
That's right.
Because
That's
we
right.
know that they're singing. This is a musical.
That's right.
Yet Luthien wept. This is a summary, by the way, now, because holy moly, yeah. And she feared the death of Beren. The eagles left them at the borders of Doriath. At the same glade where Beren had left Luthien and departed on the quest, Juan came to Luthien and the two of them tended to him. There he lays, in dreams of anguish, until, as Luthien's last hopes were fading, he awoke, and it was spring. How many times can this man... Oh, but there he is.
He's been like mortally wounded, what, at least 2 or 3 times by now?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Time Prophet, did you know that the band Marillion got their name from the book? I did not. Time Prophet, I am friendly with animals. Okay. And let's see. Eagles also did Hotel California. How cool is that? Kelvington is not an animal. I am a human being, kind of vaguely resembles an elephant, just saying. And okay. Well, you can be whatever you want here on Miss Smart Muses. Okay, within reason. But I don't even know where I am coming with that. All right. And thereafter, he was given the name, damn it, Urkamion, the one-handed. Okay, yeah, so like, dang, what's wrong with you people?
Can we have some pronounceable names in this book?
Yeah, and he has a new name. Like, you're no longer Baron. We're just gonna call you the One-Handed, so everyone can point and go, ha ha ha.
Because that's what everyone wants when they lose a limb, Yes,
Yeah.
please point it out.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me at all.
Every time you call my name, you'll call me. I'll remember this horrible, horrible thing that happened to me. Thank you. Hello, Tommy. I got lost. But yeah. So thank you for calling me one-handed. The two then tarried for a time in those woods, for it was pleasant to them, because they have to prance around the woods. They're always in the woods,
Singing and prancing.
Yeah, singing and prancing, dancing with the not dancing with wolves, I guess, but dancing with the birds and singing and.
Well, who wants a hound? Maybe dancing with the dogs.
Yeah, there you go, dancing with the dogs. Okay. But Beren would not forget his oath to Thingol. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. So after a time, they returned to Doriath. Yeah, you don't mess with the oaths. Oaths are like serious stuff, which is why you should probably never take them. Because if you don't take them, you can't break them. Which had fallen into the grief at the loss of Luthien. Okay. Mm-hmm. News of their coming had spread far, and they arrived in Marigroth with a large following. Beren and Luthien told the tale of their quest to the astonishment of all. It seemed to Thingol that the man before him was among the great in Arda, and Luthien's love was a thing strange to him. It came to his mind then that no power of elves or men or Mire or Valar or any other power in Arda might interfere with their fate. And his mood toward Beren was softened. How melodramatic can you get?
Right? I mean, it's bad enough, like what we were saying, Thingol just doesn't like anyone but the people that, his own people, right? So it's like, he even rejected the Noldor and, other elves that try to be friendly to him. So the fact that he kind of softened towards Beren was like, oh, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Since when?
Yeah, talk about winning someone over. I mean, the guy went to hell and back, did all that, stole a Silmaril from Morgoth, and everyone's singing and saying their praises. It's like, fine, my mood, I'll soften. I like it. Yeah.
I guess you're okay.
Yeah. Fine. Oh, well, we're speaking German now. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Snorta Poops is helping me with the pronunciation. The CH is pronounced in the CH in Loch.
Okay.
Or German Loch. Well, it depends. I always call Loch. Well, it depends on what kind of a Loch. I have the Cork pronunciation Loch, but so which CH? Oh man, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, das ist gut, ja. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Probably something I mispronounced somewhere else. Um. Oh, are you talking about Erchamion? Maybe. Oh well. All
And
right.
maybe
For
Karkaros, because there's
good.
a CH in there too.
Oh,
I
there we
think.
go. Well, when in doubt, I'll just do a.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Just like give it a little extra.
Yeah. Beren and Luthien told the tale of their quest to the astonishment of all. It seemed to Thingol then that the man before him was among the great in Arda, and Luthien's love was a thing strange to him. It came to his mind then that no power of elves or men. Wait, I already said that. Duh. My bad. Man, maxima culpa. Okay, yeah, we speak foreign languages here at Miss Martin Muses. Okay, for a time, there may have been some semblance of peace and joy in Doriath, but out of the north came the beast Kocharoth. There we go. I hope that's what you're all referring to. Um. Okay. Okay. A hunting party was assembled, consisting of Juan, the Hound of the Valar, Mablung of the Heavy Hand, Belag Strongbow, Baron Erchamanion, and Thingol, King of Doriath. Yay, we have another band of brothers. As they rode forth for the hunting of the wolf. Killed the beast! Killed the beast! I told you this is a musical. A shadow fell upon Luthien, and to her it seemed as though the world had been drained of all color and beauty and life. Oh my gosh, girl. The party came upon Kocharoth near the northern waterfalls of Esgalduin. The wolf leapt for Thingol, but Beren came between them, suffering a deadly wound. Oh my gosh. Juan slew Kocharoth, but was himself fatally injured. Laying beside Beren, he spoke for the last time, bidding Beren farewell. Well, damn. So they parted. Mablum ripped open the wolf and placed the Silmaril in Beren's living hand, who asked Thingol to receive it. Now the quest is achieved, and my doom full wrought, he said, and he spoke no more. They bore Beren back to Menegroth, and Luthien met them. She bade him await her upon the western sea. Opening his eyes, he looked upon her one last time before before he died. So ended the quest of the Silmaril. So he finally dies for real. Or does he?
Right?
For the spirit of Beren lingered in the halls of Mandos, awaiting Luthien upon the dim shores of the outer sea, where they could say their final farewell. Ah, for it is from there that the spirits of men depart the world, never to return. Such is a gift of Iluvatar. The spirit of Luthien fled her body and found its way to the halls of Mandos. Kneeling before the Valar, she sang to him a song. See, that's why y'all need to learn to sing.
That's right.
She sang to him a song so beautiful, sorrowful, that Mandos was moved to pity. But it was not within his power to alter the fates of the children of Iluvatar. And so he called on Manwë, who sought guidance from Iluvatar. Two choices were put before Luthien. On account of her extraordinary labors and grief in life, she was permitted to remain in Valinor, forgetting all the pains she had known. But there, Beren, being mortal, could not follow. The second choice was that she might return with Beren to dwell in Middle Earth as a mortal, but no guarantee of joy in life, because life sucks.
Right.
There, both would be subject to a second death. This second option she chose, forsaking the undying lands for a mortal life with Beren. So it came to pass that long ago Luthien and Beren at last left the confines of the world together.
Oh.
It's so happy.
That's
Sort
the
of.
sacrifices you make for the one you love. How many times did she put out so much effort to save his life, or so much energy that she wound up draining herself, or for her to choose a mortal life just so they could have a chance to be together?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yes, Snortopoops. This sums up Baron. I'm not dead yet. Oh, I'm getting better. Oh, thank you, Ancient One, for coming. Just remove the space. Only put that in to get around the block. Oh, I not sure. All right, everyone's saying what's up. So yeah, he's not dead yet, and so she chose to die. Now that doesn't mean that she necessarily forsook immortality, because part of the gift of men is they pass on and go like maybe to real heaven. I don't know, or man heaven instead of elf heaven. So maybe they would be reunited after death, but wow.
Because when you think about everything that they went through together before this, they really never had a whole lot of time to spend together because they were always fighting stuff off or doing this quest, and so they didn't have a whole lot of quality time. So I think she wanted to have quality time with the person that she loved.
Yeah. And maybe they did have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because isn't Elrond a descendant?
Yeah, and because oh gosh, my brain cells just popped right out of my head. Arwen, and the whole choice of Luthien. And she took the doom upon her, and I think it was only her and Arwen, right? That actually did that. Oh no, wait, she's the only one of the half Valar who did it. Yeah. Yeah, alone of the elderly, she has died indeed. Yeah, because Arwen was an elf, and she had some human in her from her dad. Oh, I honestly, I'm sorry. Don't let your brain fall out of your head. Have you lost your mind? No, I haven't. It's just that this is intense stuff, and yeah, this is probably, well, not probably, easily the most complicated of these. And something like this, well, it's a great tale, and he tells it like a fairy tale. I really feel that way. Maybe in another time, another place, they could do a whole novel just based on this, like a Baron and Luthien, everything that's contained in here.
Yeah, because it's pretty condensed, right? And it's a lot of intensity in the chapter. So, you don't get a lot of fluff. It's just like, bam, this happens, and then this happens. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah, exactly.
They've been through a lot. So, yeah, I think it could afford to be spread out if there were more details. Absolutely.
Yeah. But that of course was not his intent, Tolkien, and and we have even more to go. All right, so having been through that, I'm going to be asking you a little bit of your summary thoughts. Rennie, what do you think about all this?
Well, these are two pretty intense chapters, so I'm kind of glad that we stuck with the two for today, because I don't know if my brain could honestly do a third one in a row. It was a lot to take in and a lot to remember. And I get to the point where I'm like, wait, who was this again? And I have to look in the book, or even whenever I'm talking, I'm like, wait, what was his name?
Yeah.
So, because they were just such bulky chapters, not necessarily the amount of pages, but the amount of detail and just the grittiness of some of it. So it was pretty awesome to see, or to really reinforce the fact that, Morgoth is not invincible. He can be hurt. He can be harmed. I do like also that we get more Sauron in these last two chapters.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. I like the callbacks to Grond.
Yes.
I had no idea, or I just don't remember it, because I've only read this, this book one other time, other than the few times that I've had to let it sink in recently. But, I didn't realize that, or I don't remember that Morgoth had a Grond. I don't remember those things. So whenever those things start to click and it starts to add up, and you can kind of tie the little pieces together, I find it very interesting. And, of course, Beren and Luthien are my favorite chapter, or is the favorite chapter of mine in the book. I love their love affair. I love what both of them give up. Yes, Luthien gives up her immortal life, but how many times does Beren get hurt or get mortally wounded because he wants to be with her? He sacrifices his life, so to speak, because he wants to be with her as well. And I think that sometimes is a little bit underrated because of her giving up her immortality. So yeah, I really like these chapters.
Yay.
Sorry to droll on.
No, I wanted you to. I wanted you to. Tenor Pupa says Elrond and Elros, and ultimately Aragorn and Aragorn. Yes, Arwen and Aragorn. And let's see, Elros, he was the one that chose the
human life. So Elrond and Elros were brothers. Elros decided to be, I think, a Númenorian king, if memory serves correct. And then Elrond chose to be part, or the, elf. And then Elros wound up creating, I want to say the Dunedain. I could be wrong. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'd have to go back and look. And I don't want to make a fool of myself because, I'm like Snortopupus. He says I need to rest my tiny brayer brain now. Yes, we definitely, my brain cells are pretty much gone. But I love this, and these were both very intense chapters. A lot happened, a lot of action, and I just still can't get over the whole fight between Morgoth and going down like a boss and just Fingolf and just taking out his foot and making him limp all the time, and the eagle messing up with Morgoth. I thought that was great. Snortopoop says he was the first king of Numenor. Okay, thank you. Oh, yeah, Jinx, Jinkabine saying yes. Thank you for helping. I was gonna say, everybody, Google, please help.
It's hard to remember because I haven't gotten to that part yet, so it's just so much information. It's like my brain's like, I think this is what's going on or what happens, but could be wrong.
Yeah, exactly and precisely. Yeah. Well, cool. I just don't really have much to say that I haven't already said. But and you said it so well. I'm looking at the next chapters. We have, oh my gosh, I keep closing my book. I'm a terrible person. Of the fifth battle, Nira, blah blah blah. Holy moly! I'm gonna have to look up both those names. Nirnaeth and Arnadiad. Okay, it's chapter 20. I know, and I'm fierce lazy. I should probably look these up before, but if I looked up every stinking word I couldn't pronounce. And then we have chapter 21 of Turin Tarambar. Let me see how much that one goes on for.
What an awful name. It sounds bad. Turin Tarambar. It just
really sucks to be you, doesn't it? Oh, wait, this one goes on for friggin' ever.
Yes, it does.
Let me see.
I'm looking at my book right now. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah, we're looking at 50. Wait. It goes from 272 and to 224, 72. Yeah, we're almost looking at 50 pages. We're definitely only doing two chapters for next time.
That works for this tiny brain mortal.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my gosh, that's insane. But I might, as I go, I might condense some of it because there are sometimes some details that's like, okay, let's just kind of, you could read the details yourself, folks. I like to get the highlights, and I understand I was getting highlights on all this, so that is how much material there was in all of this. So it's pretty amazing. So that's your homework for next week, and I guess I can only say thank you to everyone that comes in. You are a very active chat, contributes a lot, helps me out. Thank you so much. Just looking at some of the names here, we had so much, and I know I'll leave somebody out. Oh gosh, homework. Okay, don't look at it like homework, Soul Assassin. Look at it as fun. Maybe I'll say this is what we are reading. So if you want to read with us, read that. A Tale of Turon is long and very dark. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh gosh. Talk about a
Teresa's book
blast
club.
from yeah, Teresa's book club. Well, yeah, it's gonna turn into Teresa's
I
book
like it.
club.
I
Yeah,
like
because
it.
we're gonna be doing more after we finish the Silmarillion. But maybe I'll come up with a catchy title, or maybe I won't. Um, all right. So this is great. Stieg will love Turin. He changes names every other page. Uh-oh.
Oh man.
Pizza Book Club is less evil than Oprah's. Yeah, I won't read all the yeah, never mind. I just won't get into that.
It's
Yeah.
fun work, not homework. Just call it
Yeah,
fun
fun work,
work.
not homework. Oh, fun work. There we go. That's even better. I mean, back in the day, some of the Oprah's choices were good, but some of them were just, well,
Oh,
But I
girl, I
digress.
couldn't read some of those. I'm just like, "Oh, yeah, no.
Well,
No."
yeah, some of them were weird, or some of them were too much. Like it's like I used to call it Oprah's depressing book club because you'd finish these books and you'd want to jump out the window.
Yeah,
Steve,
exactly.
yeah, Steve is not with us. He's somewhere up north in the future, conquering an island apparently. So well, so that's it for today, everyone. Thank you for being here. We're going to be here next week with those. Rennie, you got anything coming up?
Um, I don't think so. I know today on Mr. Brown's channel they're talking Top Gun in favor of Maverick, but this chick isn't a Tom Cruise fan. Please don't hate me, everyone. But I can't even. So, but I definitely plan to be back here next Saturday and talking more about these awesome chapters, and hopefully I won't get lost in Turin's name switches. So
Yeah,
we
get
shall
used to
see.
a lot of butchering of the names.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we have fun here at Miss Smart Muses, or at least we do our very best to not fall into the complete pits of despair. Only half of the pits of despair. Um, oh gosh, Tom Cruise will be standing on a box in Maverick again. All right, yeah, I might be having my Once Upon a Time thing this Thursday, or I might not. It will depend on certain circumstances. So thank you all for being here. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day. And be certain to just not fall in love with a chick dancing in the woods. I'm sorry. You won't die that way.